Hey, what's up you guys? It's Jaded. So since the last video I did where I covered the 1.04 changes, Blizzard has released some more blogs, I guess you could say, on the legendaries and the classes. So I just wanted to go over them if you haven't checked them out. So starting with the legendary item blog, this was covering all the changes that they had planned with weapons in general, but the majority of it is covering the actual legendary items themselves, and they look really, really good. And maybe even too good, but honestly, it's exactly what the game needed. And they really seem to hit like every note with the items, from the actual special effects on them to the stats to two-handers needing improvements, and just really unique stuff too. Like Maximus can now summon like a little fire demon, and he's got fire chains hooked to him. And I think my favorite one, Firewalkers, where you leave behind that blazing path, as well as two blue posts that were made after the fact that aren't in this. One being a ring where on being hit, there's a chance that you spawn a treasure goblin, which is really awesome and just really unique. I mean, stuff like that is exactly why you want legendaries, to goof around, play with them, and to be surprised. I mean, when you get a legendary drop, you expect it to be something special. So that's exactly what these are. And then the second one was the Butcher's Cleaver, or the Butcher's Sickle, I believe, where on hit, it has a chance to pull the enemy back, which I don't know if it has a lot of purpose. If you're already attacking in melee range, I don't know if it's gonna help anyone. And maybe not the best for some of the range classes who want to kite more. But we'll have to see how it plays out. But I think the thing that excites me the most about these legendary items is just the fact that, this is going to open up a lot of just cool things you can do with your character. And maybe stuff we're not even expecting yet. This post just covers a few legendaries. They say they've done like over 50 items, I believe. So they've done a lot of work here. And I think that's really going to be something special when you log in and get some of these drops. They also said that set items were changed and the set bonuses. I'm really curious, since they haven't shown any of the set items, I'm really curious just what they look like, by having like the full set. If you get like a glow or, some special particle effects, I think they did do that. They haven't talked about it, but I'm just guessing that they did go ahead and, make the art for that. One of the weapons that they showed was the 300 spear, and I figured I'd talk about this one since I made the throwing wet barb, and there's a lot of people who watch my stuff because of that video. I'm not sure that the 45% is gonna be worth it. It might very well be, but say you don't get like a socket and you don't get crit damage on it. I mean, that 40% or 45% damage, I don't know if that changes if, you can get more on a drop or not. But, is that really worth 200% crit damage? I don't think so, but we'll have to see, I guess. But maybe also it can get a socket and it can get crit damage. I have no idea. That's just one concern I have. And maybe it won't be like a super expensive, like top of the end or top line weapon, top end, where you're shooting for that if you're throwing wet barb. Maybe it's just more like a really good weapon if you have that spec. But I'm really glad to see the two-handers getting some love. I mean, the Maximus has like 1500 DPS, and keep in mind too that all the items that they showed here were just random rolls. I'm guessing leading more towards the better rolls, but not like perfect items. So you could probably get like 1600 DPS, legendary weapons, and much better stat rolls as well. So it's looking really, really good. And when they released this, I was getting really excited because they really seem to know what they're doing. And this patch just has so much in it. So let's talk about the classes now. So starting off with Barb, because Barb got released first. I'd say the one thing that I guess just kind of disappointed me about some of these posts were they really didn't change a lot of mechanics, especially with the Barb. They really just went in and increased the damage overall on like everything, which is fine and probably what the class needs. But it just kind of left me like, yeah, you made the class stronger in a lot of respects, and we get to play with more runes and more different ways to play the class, which is good. But there's not a lot of things here that you're gonna be like instantly. It's not gonna translate instantly into you thinking about that stuff. And the Barb, I think, being in the best place of all the classes, they didn't have a lot of mechanics to change with. So they just kind of went over the main things, with the Barb, it was Fury Generators and Fury Spenders. And something important to note here is they basically said double Tornado Barb's not going to be changed too much. They did say that they had something for Whirlwind, but they didn't talk about it. So maybe Whirlwind's going to see a boost. But for Sprint or Battle Rage, they haven't changed those apparently because they're in a good spot. I think one of the crazier numbers to come out of this is the Lacerate rune on Rend, which went from 270% weapon damage over 3 seconds to 903% weapon damage over a longer duration, but that's still pretty crazy, over 5 seconds. But yeah, I mean, Seismic Slam's getting a boost. And again, I mean, the important thing to note here is these are very specific things that they go over for each class. These aren't the full patch notes, so we're going to see a lot of stuff we didn't see in these coming in the patch notes coming up later. So moving on to Wizard, the next one that came out, this one had a lot of interesting controversy, I want to say. So a major part of this was them talking about Hydra and how it's a signature spell with the Wizard, and they wanted to go in and fix the issues with it so that not everyone's using Venom Hydra. And they all looked pretty good, small DPS increases. I think the more interesting one with Hydra is the one that they haven't changed yet. They say that they might keep an eye on it and that down the road they're going to do something cooler with it, which is Mammoth Hydra. They said that they want to give it the ability to move around the battlefield without needing to be recasted. So I think that would be really awesome. You just have like, I guess, a pet Hydra kind of snaking its way through the ground. I think that'd be a really awesome passive skill that you could have instead of the boring stuff like the weapon, force weapon and stuff like that. If they ever change it to that sounds amazing. But that's not coming in this upcoming patch. So I want to get to what a lot of Wizards are complaining about. And I'm with Blizzard on this one because it was a really broken spec. And I think a lot of people are having trouble seeing that because of the current state of the game. When all of these changes come, you're going to feel a lot more relieved that they did this because I think what they were seeing is, the problem with Energy Twister having too high of a proc coefficient is what they call it, where it's just getting too many procs. So it's getting you, more lifesteal, more crits and things like that. Or I should say life on hit and crits. I don't think it's going to affect people as much as they think if they still stay with this build. It definitely hurts the crit mass build if you played with Energy Twister. Some people didn't even play with Energy Twister. Some people played with the other, the melee one. I forget it off the top of my head. But, this doesn't affect everybody playing the crit mass. And on top of that, I don't think it's going to, kill that spec entirely. Your gear's going to be good for trying out other things. I think that's what the biggest thing people are complaining about is, hey, I bought all this gear and you just changing my spec now. Now I'm boned, I've been working all this time and I can't use it anymore. But I don't think that's the case. You're going to find something viable with your current gear on your Wizard. People always fear what they don't understand. I heard that once. I'm just going to keep using Batman quotes apparently. And then they go on to talk about signature skills, how Seeker with or Magic Missile with Seeker and Shock Pulse with Piercing Orb are the two popular signature skills, and how they're going to be buffing everything else. And then Meteor and Arcane Torrent are both getting buffs. And the thing is, these numbers seem to be a lot smaller than the Barb's increases, but I have to imagine that they've done their testing and that these play out to feeling good and strong. But of course, people are jumping the gun. People without, this patch are saying that, for example, Barb getting that 900 weapon damage rend over 5 seconds is just crazier than these. But I think it's in line with, doing instant damage and things like that. So again, I'll have to see how it plays out before I make any judgment on it. And of course, there's skills in here that they can't show all in one blog post. Anyhow, the next three, the Monk, the Demon Hunter, and the Witch Doctor, all have their own posts as well. I'm not going to go over those in depth or anything, but you guys can check them out if you're interested in those classes. when the patch notes actually come, or when I'm actually playing those classes, you know, of course I'll get into them a bit more and see how they played out with these updates. You know, for example, the Witch Doctor one was really focused on pets, but you know, that doesn't excite me really. I'm not big on pets personally. But anyways, yeah, just want to give you guys an update on stuff if you haven't been following it very closely. I'll have a link to everything if you guys want to check out the items. I definitely recommend checking out the item video that they made. They put together a really nice quality, you know, a look at the items themselves. You can see visually how they look in game and stuff. So yeah, that's gonna do it for me, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you very soon. Peace.